Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited about this live training today. Today, I'm going to teach very simply how to overcome your biggest fears, your deepest fears, your greatest insecurities so that you can accomplish your dreams, your plans, and your goals. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant. I got started in my company about 17 years ago, and I simply made a decision to go to work as myself. I wanted to figure out how to take my background as a corporate trainer and my systems in motherhood and how to package my knowledge into a product, a product or a service that I could offer to others. I didn't know how to do that. My very first stop, I went to a small business resource center in my town, Priscilla, and I was told that my idea, mom coaching, that it didn't make any sense, that no one would pay me to do what I do today. Fast forward, I had the opportunity back then to work with a brilliant and amazing coach. I went to a live event. I observed her doing something that I wanted to do my own way. So, I always teach you guys based on what I'm actually doing. Nothing that I share with you is hypothetical, because one of the things I want you to understand is that a lot of times the things that we are attracted to, the people that we are attracted to, there's a part of them inside of you. Okay. And sometimes it's just a matter of understanding how to take what you're seeing and how to apply that part to what you're doing. Now, I didn't say be a creative duplicator. I'm talking about owning your gifts, your talents, your skills, your background, your uniqueness. Right. And then looking at a model and saying, I want to do that. I want to show up in this way. Well, I went to a live event in Pennsylvania and I saw my coach coaching. I had never thought about being a coach or coaching someone. And as a result of her example, I said, that's what I want to do. I signed up to work with her. She's been the same coach, my same coach for 17 years. So just go consider that, right? Really, really important part of my world and my growth and my development. So today what I'm going to talk about are our deepest fears. And our deepest fears and how we can leverage fear so that we can stand up, stand tall in our gifts, our talents, to show up and be all that we are meant to be. I can tell you that this live, I've got 10 points. And the reality is that you're going to need them all. Okay. This is all from my heart. I really thought about this today. I saw Marianne Williamson was on Oprah. I don't even know if it was a rebroadcast or not, but Marianne Williamson, she wrote the book Return to Love, which I read many years ago when it was a bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list for 36 weeks or so. And I read that book and I thought it was very powerful. Had not revisited it. She was on Oprah's show today and I saw part of it and I thought, you know what? This is so, so powerful. And the truth of the matter is that there are so many people who don't launch, don't go for their big amazing dreams. They stay in the same place year after year, not because of skill or talent or ability, not because it's what they want isn't available to them. They stay where they are because of their fears. And I thought today, if I break down step by step with my community here, if I break this down, there will be one or two of you, maybe tons more, that will hear this and someone will launch. You'll do something different. And as a result of that, you'll be an example for someone else who is equally afraid, but you will give them permission by showing them that it is possible to face your fears. Fear is something I talk a lot about. If you listen to my lives, you know that I do, because I feel like I have a deep and intimate relationship with fear for good. And what I mean is, I don't know that many of you guys know my story, that I didn't know how to swim 11 years ago. And I decided that I would learn how to swim as an adult. And it was petrifying, like literally. Okay. So I had to sign up for swimming classes. And I decided that the fear was so big that just having a relationship with myself through fear, just saying I'm going to learn how to swim without any accountability would mean, first and foremost, I'd probably quit. So I decided that what I would do, since I don't quit on people, I stand for people, right? That I would start a triathlon team called the Iron Moms. And 11 other women joined me and they couldn't swim either. One woman could swim a little bit. And we all had 9 months to learn to swim so that we could participate in an open water triathlon swim and race. And so I signed up for swimming lessons. And even after swimming lessons, 6 weeks later, I still really didn't know how to swim. And I certainly didn't have the capacity to be able to swim, 0.62 miles in open water in a lake. Okay. Let's hear me on this. Okay. So, which was the requirement for the race. And so I don't know what you guys know about triathlons, but a triathlon swim, you're swimming with a lot of other people in open water. It can be quite aggressive. You get in the water and waves. When you get in the water, you're in a lake, right? So usually it's 40, 60 feet deep from the moment that you get in. So there are no walls. There's nothing to hold on to. You have to make that decision you're going to do this. So this was a big commitment for me. And I'm sharing this story with you so you can step inside of fear, and then I'll break down these points for you because I believe this is going to help someone. And I couldn't swim after swimming lessons, like really well. Okay. I could put my head in the water. Sometimes I could make myself go to the deep end, but not really. Okay. And I was still always swimming on the outside lane. And I then had to hire a triathlon swim coach. And her job was to support me with endurance swimming, to teach me really how to tread water, which she did for up to 45 minutes. She showed me 3 different ways for me to tread. She had me swim 3 times the distance. I could do a little bit more than that, about 2 miles without stopping, because she knew that one of my biggest fears was that I'd get tired out there and then what would happen. So what she began to do for me was chop at the thing that I was afraid of the most, which is, not being able to continue to swim. So she taught me how to tread water for 45 minutes. She showed me how to do my swim 3 times the distance. So she knew physically I was ready, okay? And then she had to teach me how to open water swim, which is a completely different thing, okay? Which is swim in a lake, okay? In the lake, you can't typically see in the lakes that I was swimming in, you couldn't see the bottom of the lake. It was just kind of creepy, right? Like initially, in my mindset. And I had these beliefs about the water, okay? And whenever I would get in the water, whether it was the pool or whether it was the lake, my brain just started to talk to me, about who I was and what possibly could happen to me while I was literally witnessing myself overcoming it. So hear me on this. Imagine, when you think about fears, that I'm in the water and I'm swimming in a lake that's 40 to 60 feet deep. And I still have a story playing telling me what I cannot do, despite the fact that I am doing the thing that I don't believe I can do. All right. So we're going to talk about our deepest fears today, see, because sometimes there's a story behind the story that plays over and over again. And when that story is playing, whatever voice is the loudest is the one we believe, okay? But I had someone in my ear, a mentor, a coach, who was preparing me to face my deepest fear. And she was showing me how to be prepared beyond my thoughts. And I'm gonna break this all the way down for you today. My only goal is to support someone with breaking free of fear. And I hope that as a result of you hearing this training today, that it'll move something inside of you. It'll allow you to process fear differently. Because I know for me, when I faced my fear of swimming, okay, I got to live with an incredible new gift. I got to learn something about myself in completely different ways that I just didn't even know how strong I was. Honestly, I didn't. I had no idea I was an amazing swimmer. I had no idea I had the ability and the capacity to swim that way. 2-mile swim is a significant result. I had no idea. I didn't know I had the fortitude, the capacity, the strength, the capability. I had no idea, and yet it was there all along. And I want you to know this, that there is something that is inside of you right now. It might be that book you want to write. It might be that you want to be this dynamic speaker or coach or consultant. It might be that you have this dream eventually to leave your job properly prepared and build something that's financially that allows you to be financially free and be with your family, but you're just scared. It might be that it's a patent that you've been always wanting to do. It might be a book you've always wanted to write, a story you've always wanted to tell. It might be you just not doing the thing that's been the conventional safe thing. It might be something else, okay? Against the grain of what anybody else has said. And I just wanted to share my story with you about fear first. Because I always know that there are always these people who say, but Mia, you've done this or you've done that or you have accomplished that. What I've done is face my fear. So let's talk about it. If you're ready, I'm ready. I'm Mia Redrick. For those of you on Periscope, I'm a business and life consultant. Today I'm going to talk about how to face your deepest fears, how to face them head on, dead on, straight on, right? With the intention to change your life, to own a bigger part of who you are, to play a bigger game, to rewrite your story, and to understand that you have the capacity to do whatever it is that you want to do, even if currently you aren't living that life. Let me tell you, even if you aren't, because I wasn't swimming, okay, before this. Maria says she's ready. Is Maria the only person that's ready? And yes, if you're watching the replay and you're ready, I want you to write, I am ready, okay? And it's important, an intention when you hear a powerful message, to be ready, right? To intend to be ready to receive. Chandra writes, hi, Mia, love you. Let's talk fear. I love it. I love it. I love that you're on YouTube. Okay. Priscilla says she is ready. Priscilla, you're always ready. I love this, right? PLM. I see that like as a logo. PLM, like the P and a long L and an M. I don't know why that came to me. Okay. Natasha is ready. Always ready. You are. Okay. Let's just jump in. All right. So I wanted to do this because I know that together, if we face this, if we get understanding around this, you're unstoppable. There's nothing that will get in your way. I will tell you, because the reality, when I've worked with thousands of women over the years, helping them to realize their talents and their skills and their gifts and how to package them at a high level. And the truth of the matter is that they're the separator between people who accomplish what they want versus people who don't accomplish what they want is really how they manage fear. So I know that unraveling this today is really going to make all the difference for you. It's just going to make all the difference. So here's number one. How to overcome your deepest fear. The first thing you got to deal with is this question of, am I enough? Okay. Am I enough? I'll say it again. Am I enough? You see, one of the biggest things that people battle with internally, okay? I don't care what they look like. I don't care what they dress like. I don't care how many degrees they have, MDs, JDs, PhDs, master's degrees, no degrees. I don't care what their title is, what their status is. I don't care what kind of shoes they're wearing, bags they're carrying. The biggest fear that many people deal with is, am I enough? So imagine that if you have a deep fear about whether or not you're enough, and there's a position that you want to go for, and you're like, am I enough? Like, am I enough? Like, have I done enough? Do I need to go back to school? Do I need another certification? Are they going to think I've had enough experience? When I think about the number of people who don't launch, who don't go for their dreams, not because what they want isn't available to them, they don't go for it because of this question, am I enough? And they begin, Elaine, replaying over and over and over again scenarios that compare people who they think are enough to what they believe is insignificant inside of themselves. And I want you to understand this, that the greatest way to defeat fear in this case is understanding that when you compare yourself to another person, then your internal story says that that person's baseline is yours. Okay. And imagine that you take your skills, your talent, your abilities, and yet instead of you looking at what you bring to the table, you look at what someone else is bringing to the table. And then you then, like subtraction, begin to subtract what they have from what you bring. That means that the things that you do that are awesome and incredible, that are amazing, they don't even make it. They don't even count when you are asking the question of, am I enough? All right. So one of the things that I like to do is whenever I think about an opportunity, something that I want to do that maybe people would say, Mia, you're not ready for this yet. Like, no, because I think I'm always ready. Right. It's like, so, and I think, why not me? Why not now? Like, why not try? So whenever you have the thought of, am I enough? I want you to challenge that belief, because here's the thing. The moment that you have a physical experience that defies the thing you believe, you will no longer believe that. It's funny. I'll give you an example. I have clients who I'll suggest to them, you need to do media right now, right? Like, now's the perfect time for you to pitch to do TV or pitch for media. And then they do it. And initially they're like, am I enough? Do I have enough experience? Why would someone want to interview me? But the moment that they do it and it happens, then they no longer can believe the thing that they were believing. Like, I need to do more. I need to do more in order for people to want to tell my story. So I want you to understand that if your deepest fear is that you're not enough, it really means that on some level, you're not implementing enough. Likely you don't have the accountability in your world enough of people who see you as you can be, who say, hey, this is what I see for you, right? It's time, right? So that you can begin to defy the beliefs that you have. And when you defy the beliefs through action, you change those beliefs. And the reason that people never change, am I enough? Am I enough? Am I enough? Is because it becomes this thought that plays over and over and over again. See, if I had played this in my mind over and over again, which I had, am I ready to swim in this lake? Listen, am I ready to do this? But I had a coach who was moving me along, like, meet me next week at the lake. I was like, wait, when we get to the lake, are we serious, right? Am I enough? Am I ready for this? I don't know. She knew I was ready, right? Because she was having me do the work. She had me implementing. She could see that I was ready. I knew how to tread water for 45 minutes, okay, without stopping. I could swim 3 times to swim. I was enough, but my belief system wasn't there yet. And because I had someone that said, meet me here on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock at the lake, I had an opportunity to test those beliefs over and over and over again. And so eventually I no longer could believe that I was not a good swimmer, my deepest fear. Like, literally, is this supporting you? Okay, is this supporting you? Okay. So one of the biggest questions that relates to our deepest fear is, am I enough? Really always looking for that validation, always wanting to know if what you did is okay, right? And I will tell you that it starts often with our self-talk and saying, I am enough, right? Like, just giving yourself the permission to say, it's okay for me to be me. I tell people this all the time. I tell my clients this. I never search what other people are doing, right? Because I don't really, it has nothing to do with me, okay? So, like, imagine that I want to take my gifts, my talent, and coach my clients. I have a background as a corporate trainer. I'm a really terrific mom. I've got these great systems in my life to practice self-care. That's what I know how to do. What does that have to do with me looking at what somebody else is doing, or some other coach, or saying, ha ha, you know what I'm saying? That's what Mia's doing. I'm going to do that. Or I want to reach out to their clients. I have no interest. Okay. I don't care what they're doing. It has nothing to do with me. I know this, that the people who are attracted to me are attracted to me because I'm me. Okay. They're attracted to me because I share my truth, and they're attracted to you because you share yours. The thing that deepens our fear, deepens this, am I enough, is when you go on the journey to prove to yourself that you're not. Okay. And you do this by looking at, or Google searching, or comparing what somebody else is doing, or what you are doing and you want to do. I'm teaching right now. I'm breaking this down. Imagine if you didn't have these things in your life, in your world. I was sharing with my clients. I told them this like a lot. And I told them, I said on Periscope, Anointed Blessed, you'll see this. Go check my Periscope profile right now. I was going to tell the story, and you're on Periscope. If you're on Periscope, how many people am I following on Periscope? Okay. If I'm on Periscope, how many people am I following? When I signed up for Periscope, I signed up to learn how to shoot live videos 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, whenever Periscope started. And that's the reason I went there. I didn't go on Periscope to watch what other people were doing. I was trying to figure out my own thing. Okay. And imagine I'm trying to figure out my own thing, but I'm watching somebody else's thing. Okay. Because that would make me feel insecure if I don't know what I'm doing. So I figured out my own thing. And I think I never ever watched what other people were doing on Periscope. I mean, I think maybe I followed I don't know, maybe 5 people or 6 people in 3.5 years. It's the way I live my life. It's the way I program myself, right? I'm there to give my gifts away. I'm not there to give away somebody else's gifts. I'm not there to study what somebody else is doing and try to be a version of someone else. There's just nothing true about it, and there's nothing magnetic about it. And I hope this supports you. Number two, our deepest fear, our deepest fear is also, can I do it? Okay. It's this question that we have like, okay, am I enough? And can I do it? So think about the things that you want to accomplish, right? Sometimes the reasons that we don't launch, is because we wonder, can I do this? Like even though I had swim, I could swim 3 times the distance. I was like, can I do this in this lake? Is this possible? Can I do it? This is why, because the thing about your deepest fear is that it programs you around your insecurities, your inabilities, your lacks, your doubts, your disappointments in many ways. And sometimes they're the biggest things ever, right? So for me, I could only associate what I couldn't do as it related to the water. And I didn't have an example of what I really could do at a high level to counterbalance it. So one of the things that gets in the way, right, is as it relates to our deepest fear is, can I do it? Because we don't have an example of having doing it. Okay. And this is where association becomes really important. Okay. So imagine if you're trying to explore, can I do it? But you hang out with people who validate you not doing it. You don't have to do it. It's not time to do it. Why do it at all? Or why do it now? Okay. Conversely, imagine immersing yourself in an environment with women, your own ambition level and above, related to what you want to do, who I call giants, people who want to do what you want to do their own way. And they, even though you've never done it before, they show you small glimpses of what good looks like as it relates to, can you do it? You just saw her do it. You just saw this person do it. See, when you're dominant association is with people who I call go-givers, women who, it could be men too, women who are willing to share the positive results of their implementation. Hear me. Women who are willing to share the positive results of their implementation. See, women who have faced the same fears and insecurities that you're going through, who are willing to say, let me tell you something. When I was going through that, I felt the same way, but this is what I found. So this is why I always say not all communities are the same. This is why it's important to be in a community with people who not only have the truth, but who are willing to share their giantness with you. It is something that I feel really blessed about. It's something I insist on for myself personally, in my relationships, in my mentorship relationships, but also it's the community that I've built with my clients, that when they take giant steps, they share what those giant steps look like. And because they do that, they give others permission to say, I can do it too. Does that make sense? So you need to ask yourself right now, are you in community with women, your own ambition level and above, okay, who, even though you feel like, I don't know if I could do this, I don't know if I could get on that stage, I don't know if I could sell something for 10 grand, I don't know if I could do a 6-figure plus months or more, that you are in community with people who can do it and who are doing it and who are willing to share their path with you. Now, most people are in community with people who are the opposite of that, okay? And it makes your fears grow. Meaning most people are in communities with people who are living in their deepest fears. They're talking about what they can't do, why they can't do it, who didn't help them to do it, why it's not working. But if you ever want to get to your next level, one of the things, and you can take this and use this, is you need to be in community with people who already have achieved the things that you want to do, okay? Because what they do is give you permission. See, they change your psyche about what's possible. They give you an opportunity to bounce off your questions, your fears, your insecurities. How did you feel when you did your first radio interview? How did you know you were ready? How did you know what to say? How about that? And I will never go to any place, any community, or be a part of anything where there's great success, but there's not great giving in the success, because one of the things that's equally important is to be able to elevate one person over, like one person that's done something, to be able to elevate that person by telling your story, understanding that when we share what we're doing, we grow everybody else around us. That's what true elevation looks like. If you're getting this and you're getting value, I want you to write, I'm getting value, Mia. All right. I'm getting value. I'm getting value. It is also why I often talk about the importance of making sure that the people who are dominant in your world are people who add value, are people who are taking, are people who are drafting. But people who in your world, they want you to shine. They don't want you to shrink your shine. All right. So one of the biggest questions we have around our deepest fear is, can I do it? All right. Number 3. Okay, number 3. Okay, somebody on Facebook writes, getting value. Rosetta writes, getting value. Elaine writes, I am getting value. Priscilla writes, I am getting value. I like that picture of you. Anointed Bless says, I am definitely getting value. Thank you. I'm grateful. Michelle writes, what is that you're playing, Michelle? I am getting value. Okay. Awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are getting value. Today, what I'm talking about, if you just joined me, is how to overcome your deepest fears. Okay. And it's because, you know what? Your capacity is so great. And you can step into your next level anytime you decide. Okay. You can just make this decision in this moment. All right. Number 3. The other question that we ask is, will it work for me? Will it work for me? Will it work for me? So I want you to think about it, Michelle. You're playing a violin. I love it. Okay. Will it work for me? So one of the biggest questions that we have is, we'll see things that we'll see other people do, and we'll say, but if I do this, will that work for me? Okay. Will I have the same results? Okay. And I'm going to go a little bit deep on this. This might hurt somebody's feelings here, but lean in. This is all in love. Okay. This is the challenge, right? And I see this a lot in mentoring communities because I'm a coach and I coach people in groups, right? And so imagine if you are in community with people, your own ambition level and above, and you aren't doing any work. Okay. Imagine if you're in a community with people who are knocking it out and you don't do work. Okay. It's a tough place to be. Why? Because the reflection of the results, right, sometimes, make us feel a certain way about ourselves. And that question of, will it work for me, right, is a doubt question, right? Are we clear around this? So this is where sometimes you'll see a couple things that happen, and maybe you've done this yourself, where, you shut down, right? So sometimes people shut down if they see other people creating results and they're not creating those results, right? Because, for whatever reason or circumstances, we're all human. Things happen in our lives. Sometimes, we just have to grow in our skill set, and everything is possible. I believe this. But also, will it work for me? Also, sometimes when we see things working for others, it means that instead of us being able to clap really loud, we clap softly or not at all. And if you find that you're that person that can't clap when other people are achieving great and amazing success, that's something you got to deal with. Okay. It's an internal challenge. This is why you can't clap. If this is you, I'm breaking this down. Okay. You can't clap because of your belief system. You're not clapping because you don't believe that what that person did is possible for you. See, imagine if you thought what they were doing was possible for you. You know what I'm saying? You would lean into it. You would know that this is available to you. The only reason that people hate, for lack of a great word, or some people are jealous, okay, or people want to bring down people who have achieved success, is because you don't see the success that they have inside of you. All right. All right. And so one of the reasons that we don't achieve the thing that we want is because of our belief system. And if you find that when you're driving your bus, okay, of truth, the reality is that you got to deal with your matter of your heart. See, your heart is driving your belief, all right? And you are attracting exactly your thoughts, nothing other than that. I told you guys the other night, for those of you who were on my live the other night, your words, what you say influence your thoughts. Your thoughts influence your feelings, and your feelings ultimately influence your actions, all right? And when you have the thought process, will it work for me? And you see other people who have things working for them, and you feel like you can't lean into them, be with them, be in a room, be uncomfortable with them. Okay, you feel like you can't clap for them. You want to shrink their shine. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes what it looks like often is that you'll hear people say things like, oh, that person's narcissistic or braggadocious, or I'm trying to think, egomaniac, or stuck on themselves. I don't even know if people say that anymore. Okay, all of these things, right? And when they see someone who is confident, who embodies the things that they want, but they're afraid to step into. Imagine, conversely, if you just said, I just want to know your secrets, right? You know what I mean? If you decided to be vulnerable in the heart and say, man, I know that's possible for me. Can you show me how, or what kind of investments have you made, and your time, your money, and your energy to show up like that, because it's available to you. And the wall that you create in those moments through insecurity prevent you from having the keys, having the secrets that you desire. It's ultimately us who push ourselves away from the success that we desire because of those types of feelings. I'm just breaking this down. I told you today I'm talking about your deepest fears. And I said, if someone in my community hears this, and as a result of hearing this, this changes you, changes how you show up, changes how you look at people, you know what I mean? Changes how you look at people who are successful, right? And changes your own belief patterns about yourself, so that you could really assess all that's available to you. All right, number 4. Did you guys get value, right? Did you get value on that one? It was deep. Okay, number 4, how to pursue your deepest fears. Number 4. Sometimes we wonder, what will others think of me if I do the unconventional? Okay. What will others think? Oh my goodness, right? Now, I see this a lot because I work with a lot of smart, sharp women who are, they achieve significant success and results in their business and in their life. And as a result of achieving success in their career, they now want to start a business. But when they start a business, they feel like a little vulnerable, more vulnerable, because they're building the business, right? Because it's a new business. And so they don't want their reputation to, in any way, to, people see them doing something different than they were doing. They don't want their reputation to change. Or what if they fail, like in doing this business? I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And so because of it, they kind of want to launch, but in a muted way, all right? Because they kind of want to keep one foot in where they know things are safe, and another foot in where they want to pursue their dreams, but they don't want to risk, right, in their minds, right, people seeing them as doing the unconventional. Why would you leave this amazing job? Or why would you start a business when you're doing this thing, right? For those who don't want to leave. And I think it's so important to understand that when you're doing the unconventional, you're not going to see any validation for being the unconventional, okay? I can tell you this because you were meant to broker that idea, Chandra. See, when you're doing the unconventional, it's like the idea that came in your mind, the thought that you've been gifted with, right? What a blessing. So you don't see it because you're supposed to do it, okay? And a lot of times the reason people don't face their deepest fear is because they're looking for validation. They're like trying to find 10 people, 15 people, 20 people that are going to do the thing that they keep hearing that they're supposed to do over and over and over again. But what if you just understood it was a calling on your life, okay? And that it's called a calling on your life, not a calling on a group's life, not a calling on our life. It's a calling on your life. It's something you're meant to do, right? And that it does require you to have courage to move through that and to understand that. a lot of times I see it look many different ways when we're doing the unconventional. It could be that you show up in a space and you look different. You sound different. Your education is different. Your background is different. And so you're like thinking, I need to be in the corner over here, right? And I'll just play over on this side. And when my opportunity comes, I'll break out. When you don't even have to break out, meaning if you just step into what is available to you and understand that you wouldn't even be in the room if you weren't supposed to be. I see people who make the decision to play small with big and amazing gifts. Is that you? Okay. And if that's you, I'm sorry, Ray. Hey, darling. Hey, darling. If that's you, it's important to understand and recognize that sometimes when we're meant to do the unconventional and we're looking for validation, it just, you're not going to see it because it's what you're supposed to do. I'm the mom strategist. I decided to be a mom coach when people didn't know what mom coaching was. Now it's more common, but 17 years ago, folks thought I was coaching like a soccer team. Okay. And I remember people saying to me over and over again, because this is really what happens when you're unconventional. The people who aren't your gifts aren't meant for will question you, will interrogate you, and will doubt you. Okay. Like to your face, right? And so you got to do a different kind of personal investment. You've got to work on your core. You got to work on your mentality. You got to understand that who you are is not from something external, but something internal. You got to have a strong spiritual foundation, right? And be grounded in the truth of why you're here. But if you listen to those voices higher than your own, it will make you deeply afraid to launch, to be who you are. When I think about the number of times that somebody said a mom coach, like why would somebody need a mom coach? Like, what is that for? And what is that about? If I listened to them, I wouldn't have created the impact that I have created and will continue to create. I wouldn't have coached thousands of women around the world. I wouldn't have been signed to Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows as the mom strategist. I wouldn't have done corporate deals with Fortune 100 and 500 brands as the mom strategist. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have changed the lives of hundreds of women and families. I wouldn't have 192 clients that are authors. I wouldn't have done any of these things if those voices were bigger, because at that time there was no reason to believe that little old me could do it, but there was no reason to believe that I couldn't either. And I hope that sharing the story really helps you. If it helps you, I want you to write, it helps me, okay? Because that's my goal here. Today I'm talking about your deepest fears and how to get through them, how to break through them, and understand what they are, okay? And I wrote down a couple of things that I thought when people think about their fears, sometimes they don't think about it from this perspective. But I want to break this down. You guys are already commenting, and I appreciate you so much for your interaction. Let me just kind of catch a couple of things that you have written. Antoinette Joy, what a great name, says, thank you for your wisdom. You appreciate it. I appreciate you. Violin, okay, I love that, okay. And Michelle says, Miss Mia is preaching truth tonight. Always, always. Chandra, in the red, that's good. What will others think if I do the unconventional? I feel that for me. Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, she writes, I love that. You don't need validation for doing the unconventional. You were put here to do the unconventional. What makes you scarce is what makes you valuable, right? Like Samsari, she writes, oh my God, yes, the people that your gifts are not for mean for the right? Like so true, right? And Antoinette says, it helped me, right? And then Priscilla said definitely helped me, and Maria, and I appreciate you guys, your feedback. It's really important. Okay, our deepest fears. Number 5. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when we have these deep fears, right, this is what happens. It makes us, it attracts us to smaller investments, mentors, and language. I'm going to break this down. Okay. All right. Listen, I hope you came for it. So when we have deep fears about ourselves, okay, insecurities, doubts, it attracts us to smaller investments. I think about this all the time and break this down, and I'm not selling you anything, okay? So hear me on this. All right. So imagine if you had the belief that the thing that you want to do, right, that you could do it, that your talents and your skills are amazing, that you are brilliant in your own right, because you are, okay? That there's no other person like you but you. Like, literally. How amazing, how cool is that? So imagine if you said that I really believe that I can do the things that I want to do, okay? And you decided to invest in yourself. All right? But you have belief in yourself. So what level would you invest in yourself, right? At the highest level. One of the things that I came to understand on my own investment journey, and I've invested hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself to grow myself, is because I had to decide at some point to stand behind and be in partnership with my beliefs for what I wanted for my life. And what I realized was that, look, a $30 investment wasn't going to do it. A $100 investment wasn't going to do it. You know, a $5,000 investment wasn't going to do it. A $10,000 investment wasn't going to do it. I had to do whatever it took for me to show up as the giant that I believed I was. And it required significant investment in myself. And understanding that I am my number one asset and you are your number one asset. The question for me became, why would I ever not give myself the best? Why would I not give myself the best coaches, mentors, trainers, information? Why would I not give myself truth? Why would I not give myself mentors who were living in a way congruent with how I wanted to live, who were truly free? Why would I not give that to myself? Why would I give myself? Like, I often think about this. And I'm just real about it, right? Like, I never invested with anyone who they weren't free. They may have been successful and weren't free. I never invested with people who talk poorly about other people, because that's not where I come from. I'm not a person. I'm not into that. Okay, I'm not into that in life. And if you're that way on your public platforms, you can't teach me. Okay, because it's just a matter of time, right? I wanted to be around and learn from people who represented light. And I decided for myself, I deserved that. I only wanted to work with people who had evidence, proof that what they were doing, their processes and their systems worked, okay? And that they were free, because I wanted to be free. See, I did my due diligence because I am my number one asset. And I'm breaking this down for you guys because when I think about it, I'm like, have I ever bought something on sale because it was on sale? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't need a Black Friday special to say yes to myself. I proactively seek and invest in myself at the highest level, and have for years, even when I didn't have the money, like literally. All right, I'm breaking this down. See, our deepest fear will make us be low investors in ourselves because it tells us, test the waters, try this. Our deepest fears will allow other people in our life, in our world, to talk us up out of investing in ourselves at the highest level. My husband does not invest in coaching in the same way that I do. Okay, he's had one or two mentors in his life. One he invested in, he and I had a real estate coach, 15 grand. I have never asked him permission for me to sow into myself. And why would I? If I wanted to go to law school, would I say, babe, do you think I should go to law school? No. Babe, do you think I should invest in a coach that can help me be a better coach? No. Has nothing to do with him. And yet I recognize that the reason that so many women have to get permission is because of, one, their codependency on a man for income, and their codependency on their jobs for income. See, we need someone else to say, that's a good idea, it's not a good idea, because of our own fears. And look, I'm being honest about this. I'm breaking this down. This might not be your truth, but I'm for those of you who it is, okay, we have to be honest about it. All right. Our deepest fears make us invest at the lowest level. We invest at a level that we can walk away from. We see what's available for us, but we won't go to it. When I think about the number of people, now all my clients, are high investors in themselves. When I think about the number of people whose lives I know that I personally could have impacted, help support changing the way that they package, price, position, find buyers, but they can't say yes to themselves because they don't see investing in themselves beyond $100 or whatever. I want you to think about it. See, when we have a deep fear, we even choose the wrong mentor for ourselves. This is fact. I have seen people do it. I have seen people work with people who demean them, right, because of their insecurities, who really don't give them the secrets, pull back the layers, show them what's going on. I've seen this. And people say yes to it because of their deepest fears. They say yes. You say yes. Let's have a relationship where this relationship isn't going to be a transparent relationship. You're going to talk to me about something hypothetical. You're going to ask me to be a smaller version of myself with my gifts. You're going to teach me how to sell what I know for the lowest ticket ever, even though I've been doing this thing for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? You're not telling me to elevate. You're telling me I need to work up. I'm breaking this all the way down tonight, and I'm talking about what your deepest fears look like. Look at your investments. When you look at your investments, it tells the story of how you feel about the dreams that you have and what you're willing to do. Investments could be time, money, and energy. Look, I did not know how to speak on a stage. Okay. I was moving around like Les Brown, trying to speak like Les Brown and moving around like a robot. Now, this is fact, okay? When I got started, I had to invest in myself significantly to overcome myself, okay? Now, would it have been one teacher? Would it two teachers? I was going to invest until I saw change in me to create the results. There was no price that I was not going to make an investment in because I knew I wanted to do live events. I knew I wanted to launch and deal with people on a public stage. And that I had to invest the time, the money, and the energy. In terms of my coaching, I had to learn how to be a platform closer. I didn't know anything about that. I had to invest with people to teach me how to do that, to learn how to run ads, to learn how to be a coach. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in this girl right here. When you see people who show up in a way that you admire, trust and know that they invest differently. And I want you to hear my heart on this, okay? But when our deepest fears are at play, we are investors at a low level in ourselves because we're looking for a reason to walk away. We're looking for a reason why things won't work. See, I never questioned the reason because it had to work. And imagine if inside your heart, right, inside your mind, you just made up your mind, it's got to work. It's going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's going to work. All right. The reality is that our deepest fear, we attract also a smaller language. And that smaller language, I hear it all the time. People who want to step into something big, but they talk small. What they say about others, what they say about themselves, right, is the sum of the result that they're creating. If you don't have an elevated language, then how do you attract that which is elevated? I'm breaking this down, okay? All right, I want you to hear me on this, okay? The reality is our deepest fear attracts us to the smallest thing, small level language. I often wonder, how is it if I support women with being in communities with women who are giants in every way, how is it that very few women each and every year find women who are the least giant? You know what I'm saying? Like, not in terms of capacity, in terms of mentality. You have to ask yourself in your life, if you look at your peer circle, why have I attracted these people? Okay, language. Birds of a feather float together, hang together, fly together, eat birdseed together. All right, but I'm not interested in that. All right, and you got to make that decision to draw the line in the sand. I wanted to get real about this because the reality is that sometimes we never realize, why did these people find me? Right? Tape yourself, record yourself, listen to what you're saying in your free time about who you are, what you do, what you see for yourself. See, people are attracted to people like themselves. All right. And sometimes that reflection can be a very scary reflection. I'm going to go to a couple of comments. Priscilla says, this is good. Samsari says, fire. Thank you. Michelle writes, wow, people choose the wrong mentors due to their fears. You never thought about that. It's true. I see it all the time. I hear your heart. I'll even address it, Michelle. I'll address this. What it looks like is, this is how I see it a lot. Sometimes you have people who, when you're broken and you're in pain, it's easy to have and be attracted to people who talk about your brokenness and when you were in pain. Okay. Right. So you can think like, wow, I can relate to that, but you're not going that way. Okay. So imagine wanting to elevate your life, but the conversation that you're having is about who you're not, or who you weren't, or who you've never been, or who hurt you, who doesn't love you, all of these things. Right? Imagine that so many people make investments just to recycle the conversation that is a comfortable conversation. Listen, I'm going deep today, and I hope that this supports somebody. And if you know someone that this will help, I hope it does. I think when I think about the number of people who prefer to invest in characters, okay, a character, okay, versus what is real. It's true. Okay. All right. And Chandra writes, I never question the reason because it has to work. Got to change my thoughts. I like it. And Arlene, hey, darling, keeping it very real, Mia. I am, as always, beautiful. I appreciate you for being here. And I can't wait to see you on your lives because you're going to be amazing. Okay. Today I'm talking about our deepest fears and how to overcome them. And, what I've talked about so far is, am I enough? Can I do it? Will it work for me? What will others think about me doing the unconventional and attracting us, our deepest fear, attracting us to smaller investments, the wrong mentors and coaches, and a lower level language. All right, number 6, our deepest fears keep us stuck, okay? And it's so interesting, right? Our deepest fears keep us stuck. Now, this is an interesting word to me because stuck is a word that whenever someone doesn't know the answer, they believe that the word to use is stuck. And when I think about stuck, I think about, okay, if I'm stuck, it's a fixed position, right? That means I'm stuck. It means I want to move forward, but I can't, right? Like something is holding me. So I'm very reluctant about using the word stuck because I recognize that I have the ability at any time to free myself, right? Like by asking different questions or making a decision to be unstuck. Like who solved the thing that I don't know how to do right now, and how can I be in alignment with them? How can I be in community with them? How can I learn from them? That's my mindset. So I'm never attracting or wanting to attract around anything that is growth oriented in my life being stuck. Never. Okay. Because I recognize that there are no rules in life, and that if I choose that stuck is part of my belief system, then I get to choose that as one of my cards, and I don't want it. All right. So tonight we're talking about your deepest fears and how when we embrace this fear around being stuck means I don't have to move. See, stuck is a choice. Okay. And sometimes when we are afraid, it's easier to say, I'll just stay right here. I didn't know what to do or whatever, because moving to that next step requires a level of vulnerability. It requires asking for help. It requires revealing what you do not know. It requires sometimes, having a mentor or a coach or somebody's done it, right? It requires not being the great I am in your own life. It requires sometimes zipping your lips, right? And listening twice as much as someone that's achieved more. I listen to this all the time. Whenever I'm on my coaching call with my coach every Monday, and she's teaching and doing an amazing job, one of the things I always think about is I've created an amazing business. When I come on her calls, I never talk about that because it's irrelevant what I've done. It doesn't matter. I didn't come for a pat on the back. I came to learn about the next step. People ask me all the time, they say, how is it that you work with the same coach for 17 years? Haven't you outgrown her? Don't you know? No. Okay, because I don't relate to success that way. See, what I understand is that when I first got started in business, I didn't even know how to run a business, number one. Number two, I didn't know how to run a virtual business. Number three, I didn't even have any products. I didn't know what I was going to offer. And what I learned was how to do that, okay, my own way. And so for me, I assess things and I say, well, there's water, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I could assess each and every step along the way my growth. Some of it was quantitative growth and some of it was qualitative growth. I was changing on the inside. I was seeing greater possibilities for me. Okay. I was breaking through barriers of what was possible for me, working with these people around the world when I had only worked with people, seeing them in person. That was huge for me. And I'll tell you why so many people stay stuck. Many people stay stuck because they can't evaluate what being unstuck looks like. See, to me, unstuck is like I didn't know anything about building a business from the comfort of my home and learning how to do that and doing that. That's unstuck. Okay. If you introduce a model to me that nobody else in my world has ever talked to me about, which is how to acquire true freedom, and I begin building a business based on that model that nobody else in my world has ever talked to me about, why would I ever leave someone that has opened up that level of understanding in my life and in my world? It's exceptionally powerful. It's something I stand in, I live in every day. It's been a blessing to my life and my family. And what I understand is that there is more. Okay. And I think that people are stuck because the things that are available to them for them to lean into, they're always looking for that next fix so that they don't ever have to be vulnerable, do the work. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to go deep with things, right? So imagine if somebody tells you to do something you don't want to do, it scares you, it doesn't seem like it makes sense. She's telling me that I don't even know how to do a webinar, right? You know, she's telling me I don't even know how to find people online. Like, where am I going to find these people? I have no idea. Okay. Like, none. Okay. I don't know what a landing page is. I don't know how to do a webinar. I've never done anything. I came from corporate. I don't know anything about this in my own business 17 years ago. And now I'm going to be an online marketer and run my company. Okay. I could have said, I'm going to find somebody who's going to tell me something I want to hear. Okay. The reason why people stay stuck, which is a fixed position, is because they don't want to change. They don't want to do the things to get unstuck. They don't want to listen and be teachable and coachable to get unstuck. You know, I could easily look back now and say, oh, she's a great mentor and coach because I created a result. The truth of the matter is it took me 18 months to figure it out. 18 months. But along the way, my life began to change. I began to change. And I invested in myself over and over and over again because I could see that change. And I was looking for that change. And I was getting unstuck as it related to running a business online. Okay. And when I got it, when I really got it, I got it. And I say this to you, and I speak very passionately about it because I really believe that our deepest fear is the thing that keeps us stuck. It's the fact that we don't want to do the things that we know we need to do and we're capable of doing. And so we keep looking for that next person to tell us something tell me to do the thing I really want to do that you know you've been doing that doesn't work. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, I've worked with the same person over the years. I have tremendous trust with her, in her. There's been fruit in my life, even beyond money, because money is just money. Okay. I mean, reality. Okay. But I learned how to build a business and be free. I've learned how to build a life based on leverage. I learned how to be available to my family in ways unimaginable. I learned that when my husband developed kidney disease and our life changed significantly, I could stand in the gap for him. I learned that I could hire a private physician for him so he could get an elevated level of care when he got his kidney transplant. Did amazing. I learned that I could work 6 hours a week from the comfort of my home doing what I wanted to do with people I want to do it with. I learned that. Okay. And those are powerful examples. I never arrive as it relates to my mentors and coaches. I know as many people do. I don't. That's not how I do it. Okay. And I'm breaking this down. The reason that people are stuck is because they're looking for someone to tell you to do the thing you want to do. I've done tons of things I don't want to do. And it's blessed me. It's changed my life. And I hope that there's something I said that supports you. If this really supported you, I would love to hear. I'd love to hear that. Rosetta says, I hear your heart, Mia. Yep, I'm just sharing from my heart. And Chandra writes, I never question the reason because it has to work. Got to change my thoughts. And Chandra writes, ouch, can we identify what unstuck is? Yeah. And Chandra writes, people stay stuck because they don't want to change. Got to be willing no matter how long it takes. Got to do what we really need to do to get unstuck. And Oh, there you are, beautiful. Angela writes, amazing wisdom. And let's see, who is this here? Ayana writes, passion. And Priscilla writes, this supported me. Awesome. I'm so glad. Okay. We're talking today about, how to overcome your deepest fears. We're on number 7. We're almost done. It's 10 on the list. We're on number 7. Okay. And someone writes very powerful and timely on Facebook. Thank you. Okay. Number 7 is that our deepest fear is, oh my goodness. Okay. Our deepest fear, right, makes us feel that failure is bad. Now I'm going to break this down. Okay. Now our deepest fear makes us feel that failure is bad. And it's not true. So this is one of the things that I've learned about people who achieve their goals versus people who don't. People who achieve their goals fail more. They fail all the time. And they actually have an intimate relationship with fear. It's a different relationship with fear, right? Like with failing, meaning they don't judge themselves because something didn't work. They learn from what didn't work and they look at what did work, right? And then they try again, okay? People who are willing to test failure become intimately familiar with themselves in completely different ways. They learn more about themselves. They learn more about their products or their services. They learn more about their relationships, their marketing, and all of that. When I think about the number of people who are trying to get everything just right, perfectly aligned before they launch, right? It's not something I teach. And so they don't launch anything because they're always in this process of getting everything just right, the branding right, the messaging right, the product just right. It's got to be perfect, right? It's got to be completely done, and all these things. And so it never happens, right? Or it happens slowly. And what I teach my clients is that the product is the business plan. There's not a thought I have that if I have it, I'm going to launch it. I remember back in August of last year, I decided I'm going to host a virtual event. I've always hosted events every year. You guys know this. For 11 years, I would do an event in Baltimore in November. And I said in August, because of what was going on with the pandemic, I'm just going to host a virtual event. I thought of it. And 2 weeks later, I launched it, hosted the event. It was amazing success. Okay. And I host that event every 6 weeks since that decision. Why am I telling you this? I could have said, let me align this. Let me get things just perfect. Let me just make it just right, my marketing. Oh, it's not enough time. And I find that so many people are waiting for just that right time, right? Because they don't want to fail. They're afraid to fail. I mean, what's the worst thing that would have happened? I would have learned some things about putting it out there. I would have learned some things about my marketing, my messaging. I would have learned some things about my audience and what they want. I would have learned how to change maybe my marketing pages in a different way, but there would be no real failure. There would only be lessons. So I want you to understand that sometimes our deepest fear is that failure is bad, when failure actually is experience, right? And that's how I look at it. Like, I mean, I do everything afraid, right? I mean, I'm willing just to put myself out there and try it, because when I try it, I learn something different. Like, are you serious? There's never going to be proof until you do it, okay? And if you fail, you can do it again. And guess what? Now you know what works. But sometimes, as a result of trying something and being willing, vulnerable to fail, and not see your failure as a means, of judging yourself, or believing that, I knew it. I knew you could do it. It just means that, I need to do something differently, right? Like this next time, right? And be willing to face it. I'll relate it to television. When I was shooting for the Emmy nominated show American Now, and we would do these segments that were 4 minutes. Okay, guys, 4 minute segments. And I would go to work, literally start work at 7 in the morning, and it would end at 11 p.m. Pacific time, right? So I'd go to work in the morning at 7, and I'm done work by 11, and I'm on my way back, right, to the hotel. And I'm shooting 4 minute segments, not a movie, 4 minute segment. And I have to say one segment, I have to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. So sometimes I'd say something and I'll be like, oh my God, that's the wrong, wait, okay. All right. Next time I say it, the plane goes overnight. Okay. Next time I do it and I sneeze. I failed. Failed. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And the truth of the matter is, it's the way that you look at failure, right? But from failing, I became better. I started to understand more of what I needed. I learned like, okay, don't use this essential oil the night before because it makes you sneeze. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Okay, or make sure you wear this kind of outfit so that something doesn't fly in your face, right? I was failing, but I was failing forward. So what I want you to understand is that it's okay, right? Fail forward, you'll learn, you get to use those things, shift your perspective around what failing is, what it means, how it defines you, allow it to refine you, okay? Like when I'm coaching clients and they're selling for the first time, that's usually the most vulnerable place that they are, right? Because when they're in the stage of creating their products for the first time, that's the creative part. That's the fun part. But it's when you have to share your baby with others and that you start to experience, sometimes it's failure. Sometimes you're offering something and people say no, right? And that happens a lot. And what I show them is that each and every time, like, you can be better because of what happened, right? Each and every time you can be better because of what happens. Each and every time you learn and you're better because of what happens if you don't judge yourself, okay? If you lean into it. So what is it that I can learn? Every time I do one of my events, I always say to my team, I say, how did it go? And they say, oh, this worked. I say, okay, what could I do differently? Like, what did I do that sucked so that I don't ever do it again, right? This is what I do. This is how I think about it because I want to know what those things are, not to define myself, to grow from them. All right. Ayana writes, thank you. I know about the people that try to dim your life, as you shared in the Precious segment. Why do people do that? I'm going to bring that back at the end and I'll answer that for you, okay? And there's a very specific reason that they do it, okay? So just copy and paste that. And Mia, you are speaking so much truth and life into us. I just wanted to, from my heart today, it was something that I thought about and I wanted to share it. And Maria writes, failure is experience. It is. That's all it is. You got to look at it that way. Okay. And Priscilla writes, I'm still learning lessons from my failures. Good. Right. There are many. Okay. And failure is experience. I never thought about it this way. Maria writes. And then Shonda writes, you are talking to me. Won't launch because I'm stuck in perfectionism and don't want to fail. Thank you for clipping the wings of freedom. You're welcome. Awesome. Right. You deserve it. I thought I had scissors here. I was going to pull out a prop. How about that? But I don't have scissors right here. Okay. I thought it did. All right. And then number 8. Okay. And then we just have 10. And our deepest fear is, oh my goodness, this is okay. So, okay. Our deepest fear okay, also causes us to blame others versus taking responsibility. Oh boy, I want you to think about this for a minute, right? And just hold a place for yourself with compassion and with love and care. But what happens often is when we have these feelings, our fears, okay, that we also often will blame others for our failures, for our insecurities, right? For their reflection of greatness, right? Whatever that looks like. Like, let's say somebody's doing something you want to do, but you can't do it yet, but you can do it. We will be able to do it with practice, right? And time and energy investment. And you see their reflection and you blame them, okay? Or, and you've seen it, and you may have done it before. I hear it a lot from people as it relates to mentorship. Sometimes they'll say, well, an application to work with us, they'll say, I've invested with 2 or 3 people and it didn't work for me and, and whatever, right? So they blame other people, right? Versus taking responsibility. And so it's a deep fear, right? Sometimes it's the approach that we have when we make an investment. This is how I look at everything. When I make an investment, I always think that I'm always going to get a return on my investment. And I understand that returns on investments they're multi-layered, actually. I mean, certainly, I'm a business coach. A lot of the coaches that I work with are business coaches, and certainly can happen that I reap a monetary investment. But sometimes the investments that I make are not, and the changes that happen for me aren't monetary. Sometimes it's qualitative, like my life changes. What I know is available to me changes. My systems changes. I learn to automate. I might learn to outsource. Like maybe I never knew how to do that before. Like, and now I know how to outsource to people around the world, or maybe I learned how to set up my business systems in a way that's more efficient and that really covers me, right? Like, so what I want you to think about is, are you the person that when things don't go your way, instead of you taking responsibility 100% for your results, or are you the person that you believe that belongs to someone else, like the change, right? Like, it's like me working out with my personal trainer, which God knows I need to just send them all a card, right? But it's like me working out with my trainers and my physical trainers, right? And saying, I didn't lose 10 pounds, but I was working out with you 3 times a week, and you didn't create the results. And then I'm at home having pizza, and a hamburger, you know what I'm saying? And not measuring my food, and not focus on macros, not doing anything I'm supposed to be doing, not doing my cardio outside of that. I'm just saying, look, when I come and see you for 45 minutes of my week, okay, you're supposed to change my life. Now I don't have to do anything outside of that. You see, we have to take personal responsibility, okay, for the results we want. The truth of the matter is that the things that we invest in can only change us in direct proportion to how badly we want it. When I think about outside of my investments with my coaches, my mentors, my trainers, man, what am I doing outside of those investments, right? What reading am I doing? What implementations am I taking? I spend 2 hours a day being productive in my implementation. Productive in my implementation means that I do something that creates yield. Okay. I change a system that creates yield in my business, right? I build a process. There's this basic productivity, which for me means that I am productive. I might be, let's say I post a job and I get an assistant. Well, that's productive in my company. But like really being productive, like super productivity for me looks like I build out the system. I have a standard operating procedure that allows that person that's hired to come in and know how to run their part of what I'm doing in my company. See, a lot of times people confuse activity with productivity. And it's not the same. The yield's not the same. If I think with the number of times somebody's reading something or looking at something or viewing something and saying, I'm investing in myself. I do that too. That doesn't count. Learning time doesn't count. What counts is what I implement from what I learn. That's the only thing that counts. Okay. Does that make sense? When I build a system, that's super level of implementation. That productivity is what counts the most. So you gotta understand that if in your life you blame other people because you don't do what you need to do, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm home eating a hamburger, French fries or whatever, and I go see my trainer 3 times a week, and I'm like, I don't know why my waistline isn't any smaller. Are you serious? Okay, so you got to ask yourself. You got to take 100% responsibility for the results you want, and I think that the results that we create are in direct proportion with our beliefs. Okay. And if you aren't getting results doing whatever it is you want to do in your body, in your marriage, in your life, ask yourself, really go back to you and ask yourself, do you really believe, right? Like, or are you steeped in fear around this? Like, do I really believe I can have this? Right? Work through those questions that we just talked about earlier, because I think a lot of times people don't. I relate to it as it relates to working out because I've got like 40 pounds to lose. And every day when I work out, and then I'm saying every day, and I work out every day, right? So every day when I work out, I have a decision to make, right? I can say, oh, it's so hard. I can go through all of these things. Or I can make it fun. Or I could say I'm in partnership with my body, right? I love my life. There is no reason in the world with this level of freedom that I have that I should be on the beaches of the world, not proud of my body, however it is, right? Like, because I got all the time in the world, right? So I'm in partnership with the result that I want. And so because of that, there's no, like, I have to work out. I get to work out. I get to make myself stronger. I get to be healthier in another country, visiting, whatever it is, right? This is the conversation I'm having with myself, with you guys. Think about the conversation that you need to have with you. How do I take responsibility for my body and my results? How do you take responsibility for your results that you want in your business, right? With your implementation, because the only thing that's going to change is you. I don't care what investments you make. If you don't do the work and you don't do the stuff that matters, doesn't matter. It doesn't count that you went to college and you went to all the classes. You didn't do the work. You got to do the exams. You got to do the quizzes. You got to turn in the papers. Okay. And so many people think that showing up is the button, and you get to choose in your life what you want. Take 100% responsibility for your results. You know, I'm not going to go all radical with you guys on this, but I could. And this is something that in all of my coaching relationships that I'm known for. And it's not something I even tried to do, but it's just who I am. And so in all my coaching communities, people call me, she's a master implementer. This is literally what everybody says. Like, she's a master. I am. Okay. Because I am not ever making an investment just to be in community. I'm making an investment to change my life. And I proactively seek investments to change my life. And I proactively choose to change my life, and by showing up and doing stuff that I'm learning, that I'm investing in. Right now, I think what happens too is, this might hurt somebody's feelings, but I think sometimes people make low-level investments and they build a muscle and a habit of not investing because what they invested in isn't what they need. Okay. And that's why you need to invest at a level you can't walk away from. You'll show up differently. Number 9. Our deepest fear is it makes us look outside of ourselves for guidance because of insecurity. See, our deepest fear makes us think that what we have inside is not enough. That you got to look over here, look over there, right? See what people doing, right? See what they're saying. What does their website say? Be Googleicious, right? In your big vision approach to changing your life. And in essence, it just makes that fear grow. Right? Because you can't be a version of somebody else, right? I talked about that earlier. It makes us look outside of ourselves for guidance. So imagine that all of your power is inside, like all of your intuition, all of your knowing. Is this right for me? Are they right for me? Is this choice the most powerful choice that I could make in this moment for myself to move myself forward? That's not an external question. It's an internal statement. Okay. So imagine if most of the choices that you make, or a lot of them, before you can make them, you have to go out before you can come in. You already know you're on the wrong path if that's your thought process. It is the reason why so many people stay steeped in fear. It is the reason why people don't move forward. It is the reason that causes us to feel paralyzed, right? Because we are trying to be a version of someone else. You know, I tell my clients all the time, right? Be your highest version of yourself. There's only one you. The thing that makes you scarce is the thing that makes you valuable. It is really the thing that is your sweet spot. And once you have a knowing and understanding of that, okay, and you show up with that, what feels right for me in this moment? What's the highest and greatest choice that I can make for my life to get from here to there, right? And choosing powerfully for yourself and understanding in any moment, in any day, in any second, you have the opportunity to change your life simply by changing your choices. I'll prove it to you. It's very simple. It's something I coach my clients to do, and I'll share it with you. I tell my clients, look, just do 3 small things every day in the direction of where you want to be in your life. You know, 3 small things every day. Let's say I've wanted to lose weight. I say, okay, every day I'm going to drink my water. I always have my water bottle filled and I drink it all day long. Okay. So I'm always going to drink at least a gallon of water a day. Okay. Because that's part of my fitness plan. I'm going to exercise every day. Okay. I'm always going to exercise. So whether it's weight training or something cardio, I'm going to move my body every day. Okay. And I'm going to eat 1 vegetable every day. Make it up. Real simple. That's my commitment. If I do those things every day, there's no way that my body won't change. Okay. something's going to change because of the consistency and persistency over time. See, a lot of times we think that to create change, that we have to do these huge things. That's why people go on these fasts and these big, I'm in, I'm out, in, all that. And all it does is make you insecure, right? And unstable, because 1 minute you're in, next minute you're out. Imagine if you built a life that you could just trust, that you just knew what you were doing, okay? That there was consistency and persistency. And because of it, your mind was more sound about what you were doing, okay? I believe this is the reason why most people are not successful, because they don't understand the power of rituals in their life, okay? I show my clients all the time my life, right? Like sometimes I'll show them like replays of things. I've been doing the same thing for 17 years and loving it. The same thing. Why am I good at what I do? Not from an ego perspective, but because of the fruit. Because I've been doing the same thing. I haven't changed what I'm doing. I'm not doing this hot, cold. I'm not, same thing, okay? Give yourself an opportunity to create results by doing the same thing. If this time next year, I asked you, hey, how's that goal going? How's that book going? How's that business going? Are you going to be in the same business? You know what I'm saying? Or are you going to be still working on promoting that book and that brand? Are you going to be doing that? Or is it going to be something completely new? Okay, you get where I'm coming from. Did that support you guys? And we have one more. Okay, Priscilla writes, Mia, you are speaking so much truth and info. I think I might have shared that. And Maria writes, failure is experience. Priscilla writes, I'm still learning lessons. I think I had these before. 1 second. And Chandra writes, you are talking to me, won't launch because I'm stuck in perfectionism and don't want to fall, want to fail. Yes. And Priscilla writes, ooh, fail forward. I think that's how you said that. Okay. So, and so just know that I'm going to ask you to come on after this last one for our takeaway. Okay. Number 10. This is a long live. Okay. But it's a good one. Number 10, our deepest fear is that is the reason we have a pattern of starting and stopping. So our deepest fear is the reason that we have a pattern of starting and stopping. Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? So you ask yourself, look at how many things you started and stopped. Don't judge yourself around them. But it's our deepest fears and that keep us from continuing. We start, we stop, we start, we stop, we start, we stop. And if you think about like the energy it takes, right, to dust yourself off and start all over again versus just doing small things consistently over time, right? And never really, because I never really did a whole lot of really big things, but I was consistent in the small things. I didn't start and stop. I just kept doing what I was doing, And eventually, when you just keep doing what you're doing without starting and stopping, you create what we call momentum. You do. And that momentum that's working for you, I still built my business with ease and grace. I never built my business with hustle and grind. Fact. Okay. And I know that it's been the small steps, as Kiana writes, the micro steps. It's been the small steps that have made all the difference for me, that have been transformative for me in my life. And it's what I live by. I take small steps, but I'm consistent all the time. And my life can count on me. So I want you to think about this. My business can count on me, okay? I want you to think about this. I want you to break this down. When I think about the number of people who are in business, and I'll say to them, have you sold anything this week? Right. And they're like, no, I haven't sold anything this week. And they maybe they're in business another month. And have you sold anything? And no, I haven't sold anything. Would you fire yourself? Like if someone showed up in your company, or if someone ran your life for you and they created the results that you're creating, would you fire them? Okay. And it's a really powerful question, not in judgment, but to also help you to understand how to be a better leader at what you're doing. Okay. And sometimes the reason we don't show up is because of fear. Okay. So ask yourself, do you have this pattern of stopping and starting? Right? When it gets hard, do you stop? Then you start again because you like the part that you like the parts that are the easier parts, but then the hard part comes and you stop. Do you see that pattern inside yourself? And if you do, now is a great opportunity for you to change that. I appreciate you, Tracy, for sharing with Alana, inviting her to the live. I appreciate that. If this resonates with you, also feel free to share the live. It was a really good one, and I'm done. Right. So today, what I talked about is, look, what are our deepest fears and how to overcome them. And I broke them down step by step. And I know that many of you will want to see the replay for this because this, if you came later, you got to check out the ones in the beginning because they kind of added. But these are the things that came to my mind when I thought about you. And I thought about how your deep fears are getting in the way of you being all of who you are because you're magnificent. It's reality. Okay. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And then equally, I am going to invite each of you to my upcoming conference, March 1st through 5th. It's online. It's called the Giant Experience Conference. It's pretty amazing, if I say so myself. I will post the link here inside the community and when I'm done. Okay. And the conference will help you package your knowledge, your background, your gifts, your talent into a high ticket offering as a coach, a consultant, an online educator, a speaker. And most of the people that come don't even have a product. They have an idea that they want to use their gifts in an elevated way. They want to sell their knowledge for $2,500 or more. And I show them over the course of a week what the possibilities could look like. I show them how to price and value their transformation. I show them how to step into being the giants that they are, because that's really important. It's an amazing conference. And the link that I'll post will have the testimonials there from some of the women that have attended the event. And you get to see some of the results and see if you relate to those kind of results. I cannot guarantee for anyone that those will be your results. But I can tell you this, that if you like what you see, then there's a reason for that, right? If those are the kind of results you're looking for in your life and in your world. I want to open the floor up for a few questions, but more importantly, your ahas or your takeaways from being here today. Tracy writes, I needed this. Love that picture, by the way, and the accessory there. Okay. And thank you, she writes. You're welcome. I appreciate you for being here. I just wanted to have an honest conversation. My goal is to support more women who are ready to step into it, right? And sometimes we think stepping into it is just all working, but most often it's the mindset. It's shifting our thought life about who we are and what the possibility can look like to be at a higher version of ourselves. And if that's a conversation that you've been wanting to have, the Giant Experience is likely a great choice for you because that's what we do, right, over the course of the week. I answer questions for 2 hours, Monday through Friday, from March 1st to 5th. You get an amazing curriculum. There's some incredible bonuses that go along with registering right now. I give you a course on how to hit 6 figures in your business, building a business from your home as a bonus. It's a course I sell for $9.97, but it comes as a bonus when you sign up. The earlier you sign up, the more access you get to the training. So when you sign up, you can sign up now and you get access instantly to the training a week earlier. So it's pretty amazing. It's a great gift. So if you just wanted to take your time and rewatch your training, you can. But the live event is next week. It's in the evenings, Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am answering your questions and teaching around packaging what you know, pricing to fully value your transformation, teaching you about positioning yourself in the marketplace as the obvious choice, showing you how to sell and how to find buyers the way that I do. And I pull it back, okay? And it's an amazing event. Hundreds of women have attended, gotten amazing reviews. So see for yourself if it's a fit. We posted the link here. Maria says that her aha was the moment for me was always fail forward. It's very powerful, understanding the importance of that. It's okay to fail, right? Just be further ahead, right? And we always are further ahead because we learn something that we won't do again. So it's actually we're not in the same place. And I think a lot of times just changing our relationship with failure is really, really important. Thank you for that. Tamika writes, this was so life-giving. I loved when you talked about the power of rituals and just being consistent. And it's something that is absolutely available to all of us, isn't it? Isn't that true? It's like making that decision, right? It's practice, but that's so important. Thank you for that. Priscilla writes, the moment for me was it's okay to fail because it is. And learning to view failure in a completely different way is where our power is, right? It's where our power lies. Are there any other ahas or takeaways that you had tonight? Any other ahas or takeaways as a result of being here tonight? And I'm so grateful that you're here. And there's a reason you're here, right? There was a reason, right? You could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here. And there's a reason you're here. Shirley writes, number 10. Oh man, I love the hair. Okay. 10 as an obstacle. Start, stop, spoke, volumes, right? The hair, the necklace, it's a great shot. It's a power shot you got there. And Kiana writes, I never thought about rituals. Right? But rituals are very powerful to create shift and change in your life. And it's important to understand that most of the things that I talked about, all of the things I talked about are already available to us, right? To step into that. Any final ahas or takeaways before I sign off? There was a question earlier, so if you want to repost that question, great. Shirley says, thank you. I appreciate you, Shirley, and you're welcome. And any other final ahas or takeaways? I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you for being you. I look forward to seeing many of you next week at the conference, the Giant Experience. Do whatever you need to do to be there. If you like this live, you'll love the week. It'll change your life. And it'll change your life because you'll change your life, right? Because you'll step into a higher version of yourself in implementation and have the accountability that you need to package the brand of you. All right. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing night. Bye.